So last time we slowly went through the first chapter of the Silverpine Forest questline, but now that format seemed a little bit too slow, and I feel that we need to kick it up a notch. So in this video, we're going to quickly cover the rest of the chapters in this area. Having said that, let's jump in and find out what's going on in World of Warcraft. If you guys need a refresher from last time, then go ahead and click this video right over here. But if you're all set, then buckle up, get ready, and hang tight because we're going to speed through this as fast as possible. Here we go. So Sylvanas wants you to report to Admiral Hatch because some Worgans took over 3 orc gunships, and she wants to know why. Admiral Hatch is embarrassed, says he was drunk, and that's how things fell apart. Now Hatch wants you to retrieve their supplies with the help of one of their sea pups. When you get back, Hatch tells you that inside of these crates are something called Steel Thunder. We'll get back to that later. Warlord Torok blames the goblins on ship for them being drunk because they filled all of these barrels with ale. And in order for honor to be restored, you gotta kill 10 Bloodfang Worgen. But the orcs continue to drink even after you're done. Apothecary Wormcrud talks about the Ettins, which are these 2-headed big looking things, or whatever they are, and basically they need to go. But you need to collect 8 diseased organs so Wormcrud can make something to help you out. And he makes a bunch of these mutant chickens in a cage, and they're also stuck to some dynamite, which then when released and eaten by the Ettins should weaken them so you can finish them off. Now, back to Admiral Hatchet. He mentions that their 3rd ship sank, and the crew who lived are fighting off spiders on the coast of the Skittering Dark. So you need to rescue 6 orc sea dogs. Also, there's some revenge going on here, making you have to kill 12 of the Skitterweb spiders, because they probably killed some orcs, and also the Skitterweb matriarch. After your heroic efforts, Admiral Hatch gives you a commendation letter to give to Sylvanas. It's basically for you, but it's also to tell her that the Admiral and his men are ready to fight, and with this, you complete Chapter 2. Now, with the fleet back up and running, Sylvanas wants you to take Agatha, the Valkyr, and head to Fenris Isle so you can kill the humans there who fled from Hillsbrad. And once that's done, Agatha is going to take care of the rest by raising them as Forsaken afterwards. Oh, also, you need to find Crowley there as well, and sneak around to see what he's up to. When you do, you see him convincing the humans to drink the wolf blood, turning them into Worgans so that they can fight against the Forsaken. When that's all done, Sylvanas then wants you to ride out with her over to the Sepulchre. And while you're riding out there together, she tells you the history of Lordaeron. Basically, she says that she wasn't always the Banshee Queen, her people weren't always the Forsaken, and a long time ago, this land was part of the northern kingdoms of Lordaeron, ruled by King Tyrannus Menethil. That would be Arthas' father. And Arthas took on the ownership of the blade known as Frostmourne. With that, he killed his father and a whole lot of other people, and then he raised them as the Scourge. He even killed Sylvanas. And not just killed her, but he severed her spirit from her body, making her into a banshee. And he did all of this just to build up an army of mindless undead. But Arthas was slowly losing control over the Scourge. And that's when Sylvanas made her move against Arthas, but then he escaped to Northrend. This enabled her to recover her body and free the remaining Scourge that Arthas lost control of because he took off and he left for Northrend. And from that, the Forsaken were born. And their sole objective was to kill the Lich King. So they joined up with the Horde to begin their path of redemption. But now that Arthas is dead, the Forsaken have returned here, and claims this land as their own even in death. The problem is, the Alliance doesn't really recognize the Forsaken's rights regarding who owns the land, and Sylvanas says that Lordaeron belongs to the Forsaken and always has. So that's where our major conflict is right now. After that whole dialogue, now you're here at the Sepulchre. And Sylvanas tells you about a Forsaken convoy that was annihilated by some Worgen, and she wants you to recover 6 Forsaken insignias at Olsen's Farthing, so that you can honor the fallen. Also, Warlord Torok sent orc sea dogs to fight some Worgen, and they got beat up pretty bad. Most likely because they were sober. I guess they do better when they're drunk. So Torok wants you to bring them ale at the Decrepit Fields. While there, Admiral Hatch wants you to kill 10 Worgen, and these are Worgen that drink the blood of the wolf, making them much more ferocious. You then find out that the Worgen you killed were part of a scouting party, and you also find out that there are hundreds more coming. But you end up taking them out with a large cannon. After that, Sylvanas says that a group of ambushers stayed behind, so you go off to kill 10 Bloodfang stalkers. She also wants you to search nearby farmhouses for Alliance stragglers, and keep an eye out for any information that could lead you to Crowley and Bloodfang. This leads you to find a logbook that you turn into Sylvanas, and it documents a recent meeting with Ivas Bloodfang, and mentions the location of Deep Elm Mine. And it seems like that's where the enemy's hiding out, so you're gonna have to go there and finally take out the opposition once and for all. Now, Sylvanas is sending a squadron of troopers to the mine, and you're to meet up with Master Fortescue when you get there. He says that Sylvanas has put him in charge here, and says that the mission is to get into the mine, kill the Worgen, and most importantly, Bloodfang. But once you get there, Bloodfang springs a trap by setting off a bomb, killing Fortescue and the troops. Sylvanas says that she underestimated Crowley and is pretty upset at the death of her troops because they were some of the best. After that quest is done, you've completed chapter 3. Now Sylvanas wants you to finally take out Crowley, Bloodfang, and all of the other Worgen. So you need to head to the Forsaken Forward Command, which is located in Gilneas. Plus you'll be accompanied by a Valkyr named Arutha. When you get there, you speak with your good old friend Deathstalker Commander Belmont from chapter 1. Sylvanas had sent Belmont earlier to this location, so he knows what you and Arutha need to do. But there are some preparations before anything can happen. First, you need to gather some Wolfsbane and bring it back. And this is when it gets kind of weird because Belmont tells you to start acting normal, because there are 5 Worgen from the Gilneas Liberation Front spying on you right now. And because they're so sneaky, this could hinder the progress for the Forsaken, so you need to help out the front line and kill 12 Worgen rebels. Also, when you get to the front line, you find out that the communications are completely severed from Gilneas. So you need to go to the headlands and find the outposts on the coast, and when you get there, you're going to grab the Forsaken communication device and then head back. But before you head back, you kill Korok, who is a big monster that caused a lot of problems for the Forsaken frontline. And High Warlord Kromash is pretty grateful for you taking him out. Those kind of quests, it's like, I think we need to skip those in the future because they really have no relevance on the story. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should I cover those or we should just skip them because they really don't add anything. They're just kind of fluff. But now that you've got the communication device, which is called the FCD, Forward Commander Onslaught has a mission for you and says that the failure rate is about 95%. Comms with the Death Watch outposts have been severed, and with the Worgen constantly attacking, we have no way of checking in with the Death Watch, so you need to head there and check it out. But the sad thing is, you find out that the outpost is lost, which means that the Horde have lost Gilneas City. Now you're to head east to Dreadwatch and get to the next outpost, which is Rutsak's Guard. And when you get there, you need to look for Captain Rutsak. And this is really bad news too. Rutsak says that after we lost Gilneas City, the port fell, and that the humans came in and slaughtered his men, but kept him alive to tell the High Command that the 7th Legion has arrived. This is when you learn what actually happened. Captain Rutsak says that the 7th Legion attacked at night, killing his men. Then their captain came up to him face to face and said, "The name's Master Sergeant Pietro Zarin, officer in the 7th Legion. When you see your soldiers being slaughtered in your nightmares, if you even still dream, remember my name and tremble." And now Rutsak wants you to avenge his soldiers by killing 10 7th Legion submariners. Submariners? Whatever. The FCD device chimes up and says that the 7th Legion are an elite special ops regiment who have been behind the scene for almost every major offense the Alliance has ever done. But the Forsaken Command is wondering how they got past their warships and on whose orders are they operating. So you need to take out someone named Pietro, who is the Master Sergeant that got in Rutsak's face. And he's located at the Cathedral Quarter in Gilneas City. And when you do that, you need to search his corpse for clues. Bad thing is, you find out that the Alliance Armada is en route, and that the Forward Command is now currently being overrun by Worgen. Onslaught tells you through the FCD to look for a telescope nearby that the 7th Legion uses for spying, and when you do, you use it to scout on the harbor so that you can find out how the 7th Legion got past the fleet. And you find out that the Alliance were using a submarine to torpedo the entire fleet. By now, the attack on the Forsaken Forward Command is at its worst. Onslaught contacts you through the FCD again and says that this is his last transmission, because the Worgen have overrun the command post. Even Belmont and Arutha have left, and you're instructed to meet them at Emberstone Village. When you speak with Belmont, he says that Forward Commander Onslaught fought to the very end, but basically he didn't make it. Belmont then mentions someone named Lord Vincent Godfrey. Basically, when the Worgen curse first hit, Godfrey fought against anybody who was a Worgen. Then when he found out that his king was afflicted with the curse, he ended up taking his own life, saying that he would rather be dead than serve the very creatures that he had defended his home against. So Belmont wants you to head to Tempest Reach and search for his body, thus giving him a second chance to fight, but this time as part of the Forsaken. Plus his knowledge on the Worgen and Gilneas are going to be really useful. At the same time, the FCD chimes up again, and on the other end is Commander Lorna Crowley of the Gilneas Liberation Front. She's also the daughter of Lord Darius Crowley. Basically, she tells you to surrender because they've got control of Gilneas again, and they also know your position and plan on attacking very soon. So you reply by killing 20 Worgen combatants. Now that your objective is complete and that you've got Godfrey's body, you escape Gilneas and head to the Forsaken Front in the southern part of Silverpine Forest, meeting up with Sylvanas when you arrive. And this completes the 4th chapter in this zone. This is when Sylvanas has Arutha raise Lord Godfrey, Baron Ashbury, and Lord Walden back from the dead. and tells Godfrey that he is to serve her, and together they'll retake Gilneas for the Forsaken, which Chromash corrects her by saying for the Horde. And she corrects herself and agrees to that. So she has Godfrey and his men head out to get some armor and weapons. While Sylvanas is getting ready to attack Gilneas, she wants you to attack Ambermill to the east of here. Apparently there's a Dalaran mage there and he's cloaking a lot of people from being seen. More so, they're in like a pocket dimension. And they're basically waiting for the Alliance to attack, and then they're going to reveal themselves and join in on the fight. So you need to go to Ambermill and find information that would allow you to access this pocket dimension and all the mages that are hiding inside of it. And when you get there, you end up finding a codex. It's sealed, but luckily a lot of the former archmages of Dalaran are now forsaken. Also, while you're there, you find out that the elementals in the area are keeping the mages hidden. So you kill them and gather 6 of their cores. Once you have those, you take the codex and the cores to Dalar Dawnweaver at the Sepulchre. He's a former archmage of the Kirin Tor, and he should be able to tell you how to remove the protective ward from the mages at Ambermill. But Dalar can't unlock the codex without a signet ring from a Dalaran archmage, and he doesn't have his because he lost it when he died. But there's a mage named Relios at the Dalaran crater, or where Dalaran used to be. So he wants you to head over there, but also when you're out there, he wants you to kill a bunch of Dalaran humans. His reasons range from revenge to hatred, take your pick. So you use the portal behind Dalar to get there, you kill Relios, you take his ring, and you kill 12 Dalaran humans. And while you're there, you find an arcane remnant, and you think that Dalar would find this pretty interesting, so you collect a total of 8 of them. Then you return, and Dalar tells you that Relios was a pupil of his when he was alive, but who really cares? Anyways, you hand over the ring and the arcane remnants, and he says that he can use these remnants for his studies, and he's really not surprised that these remnants are at the crater of Dalaran because it was built on a massive ley line. But once he unlocks the codex, he tells you that only one person is going to be able to enter this pocket dimension at Ambermill, and that person's going to be you, of course. And you're going to have to fight off a lot of mages, like there could be like hundreds or thousands in there. Oh, and you're gonna have to kill the archmage that's generating this magic from inside. So you tell Sylvanas this, and she wants you to go to this place, which is Baron's Peril. And this is where the portal to the pocket dimension is located. And when you get there, Sylvanas is gonna communicate with you through your thoughts, giving you the next set of orders. But before you go, Chromash tells you that a bunch of Worgen druids are messing up the supply line and they're masquerading as bears. And this is all being done near the Forsaken Front. So he wants you to kill 10 of them. After that, when you get to Baron's Peril, Sylvanas tells you to run the signet ring along the ruins of the portal, and this should attune you for trans-dimensional travel. She also tells you that once you enter the portal, you're going to end up in Ambermill facing 100 if not 1,000 mages waiting to kill you. So you go in there and you take out about 20 of them. Now Sylvanas tells you that the mage most likely channeling this phase thing is named Adaric, and he needs to die. So when you fight him, he calls some minions over, says things at different percentages of his life, and when he dies, the shield breaks, revealing the mages, and luckily right in front of Dacia, who's a Valkyr. And not just Dacia, but also a large number of Forsaken troops with artillery. So they blast the mages, and Dacia raises them up as Forsaken. And that completes chapter 5. Now Sylvanas wants you to meet up with Godfrey, and he says that the Alliance have taken Pyrewood Village, because we were distracted with the Worgen attacking the Forsaken Front. So now he wants you to burn the town to the ground, just so that the Alliance can't use it to hide behind. Lord Walden wants you to kill 12 Legion scouts as well, so that the Alliance learns what happens when you use humans to attack the Forsaken. Basically, they're going to be raised up as undead. And Baron Ashbury wants you to rescue some of the Forsaken that are still alive in Pyrewood, and this is a command that's coming from Sylvanas. Apart from destroying Pyrewood, which will give the Forsaken an advantage over the Alliance, you're to head to the Greymane Wall and enter the 7th Legion base camp. And while you're there, you're going to search for the battle plans, and this is going to allow the Forsaken to pinpoint all Alliance troop advancements. Also, while you're at the camp, you're to assassinate General Marstone, and this is going to soften the ranks within the 7th Legion. And while you're messing around in this camp, you find a slightly digested head. This quest is really kind of stupid. Godfrey identifies it as the head of Sean Dempsey, and he was imprisoned with Crowley before the whole Worgen outbreak happened. But Godfrey wants to find the rest of his body so that he can be raised as Forsaken. So you kill a bunch of Crocolists in the area until you find all of his body parts. After that, he's brought back, and that's just about it. Unless you're seeing some dialogue here that I wasn't able to see when I was reading the WoW Wiki of all these different quests. There might be something different, I'm not too sure, but it just kind of ends. That's all that I was able to read. Now it's time to capture Lorna Crowley. Again, she's the daughter of Lord Darius Crowley. And she's located at the Gilneas Liberation Front. Sylvanas thinks that with her captured, the Forsaken will be able to use her as a bargaining chip against Crowley. So when you get there, there's some confrontation between Godfrey and Lorna, but in the end, she's knocked out and taken back to the Forsaken Front. Speaking with Sylvanas, she informs you that Crowley and his forces are losing ground. but he doesn't know that his daughter has been captured. So the plan is to meet them mid-field and present them with their terms of surrender. Either they're gonna accept it or they're gonna die and all the cities are gonna be burned down to the ground. This begins a huge dialogue. Basically, Sylvanas gives Crowley the chance to save his daughter in return for their surrender, which he agrees, and he has her released and he sounds the retreat. And right when Sylvanas is chanting a victory cry for the Horde, that's when Godfrey walks up to Sylvanas and drops her with his gun, one shot to the face, point blank, killing her. Which then he says that this should have been done a long time ago, and that Gilneas belongs to him. Now Godfrey and his men begin fighting Chromash and the Valkyr, but eventually they fall back to Shadowfang Keep. Chromash then tells Agatha and Dacia to fix Sylvanas, but in the process of resurrecting her, the two Valkyr die, because they were bound to her from a sealed pact that they had made a while back. But Sylvanas is back, and I guess that's a good thing for the Forsaken. Now Sylvanas tells you that the war has taken its toll on her people, and that she needs to recuperate from everything that just happened, and she's gonna head to the Undercity. But wants you to report to Hillsbred Foothills, because there's fighting going on not only here in Lordaeron, but in other parts of the Eastern Kingdoms. And with that, you complete the 6th and final chapter of Silverpine Forest. And that is everything that you need to know about what's happening in Silverpine. It's actually a really good area that explains the Forsaken and how they came to be, and kind of becoming one of my favorite zones as far as lore goes. So this was a new format of gathering lore and making videos I'm testing out, but I think we can summarize these zones even a bit faster. I think in the next video, we're gonna cut out all of the filler quests because they really just don't add to the story. And when I was writing this script, adding those quests in here just took way too long. So next time we're gonna just summarize the chapters in little chunks and then get that lore out there so people, if they just wanna find out what's going on in these areas but just play the game, they'll be able to watch these videos and go, okay, cool, I understand what's going on here. Done and done. So if you've gotten this far into the video and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button because it does spark the algorithm and tells people, hey, people want to watch this video, they want to learn lore about World of Warcraft, and other people can watch it. I'd also like to invite you to check out my membership options on this channel on YouTube, as well as my Patreon page that I just set up. It's not necessary, but if you feel so inclined to help this channel and support the work that I do, every little bit does help. And who knows, if I get to a point where I'm getting enough donations to support my family here at home, by putting food on the table and stuff like that, I'll be able to do this full time and just crank out a whole bunch of content for you guys. So feel free to check out those links down below. And thank you so much to those who have already signed up for the membership over on YouTube. I really, really do appreciate it. Make sure to catch me on Twitch. I do a lot of workout streams and also some gaming streams. I'm kind of incorporating those as well. And with that, take care, and we'll see you guys next time when we find out what's going on in the Tales of Azeroth.